While modern gardeners invest heavily in expensive fertilizers and equipment, Amish communities consistently produce abundant harvests using simple, cost-effective methods passed down through generations. Their approach relies on common household materials and time-tested practices that cost pennies compared to commercial alternatives. These traditional Amish techniques, refined over centuries of practical experience, often leave gardeners amazed at their effectiveness and wishing they had learned them sooner. Banana peel rose fertilizer, sweet nutrition for beautiful blooms. Before tossing banana peels in the trash, consider what rose growers know. Those peels contain exactly what roses need to thrive. This transforms everyday kitchen waste into powerful plant food through a remarkably straightforward process. Chop used banana peels into small pieces and bury them 2 to 3 inches deep around rosebush bases. Mature roses benefit from 2 to 3 peels monthly during growing season, while younger roses need about 1 peel monthly. Science supports what gardeners observe. Banana peels contain high potassium levels, essential for flower production and strong stems. When roses receive adequate potassium, they produce more abundant blooms with stronger stems that better support heavy flowers. Gardens using this technique report up to 40% more blooms compared to unfertilized roses. Beyond potassium, banana peels provide trace minerals including magnesium, calcium, and sulfur, all important for overall plant health and disease resistance. Unlike commercial fertilizers delivering nutrients all at once, banana peels break down slowly, releasing beneficial compounds gradually over several weeks. This gentle extended feeding matches how plants naturally absorb nutrients in the wild, with less chance of fertilizer burn that can damage delicate roots. Your summer roses won't be the only ones smiling. Your wallet will appreciate not buying expensive rose fertilizers too. Perennial vegetable investments. Plant once, harvest for decades. The rhythm of planting and harvesting defines gardening years, but wise gardeners appreciate crops that break this annual cycle. Perennial vegetables, those returning year after year from the same roots, form important parts of food production strategies. Once established, these plants provide harvests for decades with minimal care. Asparagus stands as the classic example. Planted in trenches about 12 inches deep and 18 inches apart, asparagus crowns establish slowly but reward patience with spring harvests lasting 20 years or more. Rhubarb follows similar patterns with individual plants spaced about 3 feet apart, accommodating their expansive growth. Tart stalks emerge reliably each spring, often producing the first garden harvest of the year. Horseradish brings fiery flavor from sturdy roots planted 18 inches apart and just deep enough to cover crowns. Jerusalem artichokes produce nutritious tubers from plants spaced about 2 feet apart, returning so reliably that gardeners sometimes need to control their enthusiastic spread. Long-term economics make compelling sense in communities where self-sufficiency matters. After initial planning efforts, perennial vegetables reduce annual garden workload by approximately 30%. Hours saved can be directed to other important tasks. Environmental benefits align perfectly with land stewardship values. Research demonstrates perennial vegetable plots sequester more carbon and build soil faster than beds replanted annually. Undisturbed root systems create deeper, richer soil structure year after year. Most perennials occupy designated permanent areas at garden edges or along fences where they won't interfere with annual tilling of main gardens. This careful integration shows how traditional garden design balances immediate food needs with long-term production, creating generational thinking that epitomizes sustainable approaches to land and food. Walk through an Amish garden and you'll notice something fascinating: corn, beans, and squash growing together in carefully planned mounds rather than separate rows. This Three Sisters method, adapted from Native American agriculture, creates a beautiful partnership where each plant supports its companions. Create 18-inch wide mounds about 4 inches high, plant corn at the center, beans 4 inches away from corn stalks, and squash 12 inches from center. The corn provides a natural trellis for climbing beans, while beans fix nitrogen from the air to feed all 3 plants. Meanwhile, broad squash leaves spread along the ground as living mulch, suppressing weeds and retaining moisture, while their prickly stems deter raccoons and other pests. This isn't just traditional, it's remarkably effective. Research shows growing these three crops together increases overall yield by 30% compared to planting them separately, while requiring less watering and weeding throughout the season. The careful spacing might seem fussy initially, but once established, the plants form their natural partnership with minimal intervention from you. When harvest time arrives, you'll gather 3 different crops from the same plot of ground, a perfect example of space-efficient gardening wisdom. Human hair deer deterrent, salon scraps. Protect your garden. Hair salons and deer problems might seem unrelated, but resourceful gardeners have connected these dots in a surprisingly effective hack. Clippings swept from barbershop floors find new purpose as natural deer repellent. Simply scatter about 1 handful of human hair for every 3 feet of garden border, creating an invisible fence many deer won't cross. While this might sound like folklore, the science makes perfect sense. Human scent triggers deer's natural predator avoidance instincts, even without seeing people nearby. The lingering scent makes deer wary enough to seek easier meals elsewhere. Studies testing this method find effectiveness rates of 65 to 80% depending on local deer population pressure. While not perfect, these numbers represent significant protection for gardens that might otherwise be decimated overnight. Heavy rain can wash away the scent, requiring fresh applications every few weeks during growing season or after significant rainfall. Make this part of regular garden maintenance routine. Beyond deer deterrence, this technique offers an unexpected bonus. As hair slowly decomposes, it adds nitrogen to soil, the same nutrient found in many commercial fertilizers. The effect is subtle, but contributes to overall soil health over time. For centuries, communities have maintained productive gardens despite sharing landscapes with abundant wildlife, demonstrating how understanding animal behavior leads to simple yet effective protection methods, working with nature's patterns rather than against them. Tripod trellis systems, vertical growing, maximizes garden space. Space comes at a premium in many gardens. The clever solution the Amish use involves growing upward instead of outward, using simple tripod trellises. These 3-legged structures transform limited garden space into productive growing areas while improving plant health. Construction couldn't be simpler. 3 poles, each about 7 feet long, secured together at the top with sturdy twine. When spread and set in ground, they create stable pyramid shapes, providing excellent support for climbing plants. No power tools or special equipment required, just materials commonly found around farms. The space efficiency is remarkable. A single tripod trellis occupying just 3 square feet of garden space can support 8 climbing plants. Pole beans, cucumbers, and small melons thrive on these structures, reaching skyward instead of sprawling across valuable ground space. This is one of the tried and tested secrets of the ever-flourishing Amish gardens. Beyond saving space, vertical growing significantly improves air circulation around plants. This simple change reduces fungal disease incidence by up to 60% compared to plants left growing along ground. Better air movement means fewer problems with mildew and leaf spot diseases, often plaguing vine crops in humid conditions. When measured by yield per square foot, vertical growing can increase harvests 3 to 4 times compared to traditional ground growing methods. The same garden that once produced modest harvests can suddenly become abundantly productive without expanding boundaries. The system works with natural growth habits of climbing plants. Tendrils and climbing stems instinctively reach for support, and once they find poles, plants essentially train themselves, requiring minimal adjustment from gardeners. Wood ash row markers, straight lines with added nutrition. Ever notice how Amish gardens consist of straight rows? Straight rows make gardening easier from planting through weeding to harvesting. While modern gardeners might use string or special tools creating these lines, traditional growers reach for something already available: wood ash from heating stoves. After clearing garden beds for planting, sprinkle thin lines of wood ash directly onto soil, marking where seed rows will go. These white guidelines stand out clearly against dark soil, making it easy to plant straight, evenly spaced rows. About 1 cup of ash marks approximately 10 feet of row, enough to guide planting without wasting this valuable resource. The Amish method's genius goes beyond simple convenience. Wood ash contains potassium, an essential plant nutrient supporting healthy growth and disease resistance. As seeds germinate along these ash-marked lines, they receive gentle nutrition boosts right where first roots develop. Chemical analysis shows wood ash contains up to 70 different trace minerals benefiting soil health, making it far more valuable than just visual markers. This reflects the approach to garden management, where every material should serve multiple purposes whenever possible. What begins as firewood for winter, warmth becomes ash for marking spring planting rows, finally transforming into soil nutrients feeding growing plants. Ash temporarily raises soil pH, making soil more alkaline, benefiting many common vegetables preferring slightly alkaline conditions like cabbage, broccoli, and onions. For acid-loving plants, use ash more sparingly or choose different marking methods. Egg water plant nutrition, liquid gold from your kitchen. Next time you boil eggs, resist pouring that nutrient-rich water down the drain. For decades, the Amish have been utilizing this method for their gardens to flourish. This simple liquid contains dissolved calcium and trace minerals that can accelerate plant growth by up to 15%. The process is wonderfully straightforward. After boiling eggs, set the water aside to cool completely to room temperature, then use it to water your plants within a day or two while nutrients remain stable. During boiling, calcium and other minerals leach from the eggshells into the water, creating a mild but effective plant fertilizer that costs absolutely nothing. This technique works especially well for leafy greens like spinach and kale, plus calcium-loving vegetables such as peppers and broccoli. Laboratory analysis reveals egg water contains not just calcium, but also phosphorus and nitrogen, 3 essential nutrients all plants need to thrive. Amish communities have always excelled at finding uses for items that might otherwise be wasted, understanding that nutrients should cycle through the homestead rather than disappear down the drain. Remember to let the water cool completely before use, as hot water can shock delicate plant roots and cause damage rather than providing nourishment. Eggshell calcium boost. Breakfast scraps become garden treasures. Don't toss those breakfast eggshells. They're packed with calcium carbonate, the same compound found in agricultural lime, but in a slow-release natural package perfect for tomatoes. The traditional Amish way is simply dry clean eggshells in a 200-degree FOW oven for 10 minutes, then crush them into small pieces. Mix a quarter cup of crushed shells directly into each tomato planting hole before setting your seedlings. This prevents the heartbreaking black spots of blossom end rot that can ruin perfect tomatoes just as they're ripening. Research shows gardens using this method experience 35% fewer calcium deficiency symptoms compared to untreated plants. Unlike harsh chemical fertilizers that dump nutrients all at once, eggshells release calcium gradually throughout the growing season, matching how plants naturally absorb nutrients in the wild. The shells also slowly raise soil pH, creating the slightly alkaline environment tomatoes love. Keep a container by your kitchen sink to collect shells throughout the week. This waste-not approach perfectly embodies sustainable gardening principles while giving your tomatoes the nutrition they crave for perfect, rot-free fruit. Homemade pepper pest spray, spicy garden defense. Chemical pesticides have no place in traditional Amish gardens, but that doesn't mean plants go unprotected against insect invaders. Their homemade pepper spray packs serious pest-fighting power using kitchen ingredients. Blend 2 hot peppers, the hotter the better, 2 garlic cloves, 1 tablespoon dish soap, and 1 quart water thoroughly. Let this mixture steep for 24 hours, then strain through fine cloth before use. The resulting spray works because of capsaicin from peppers and allicin from garlic, natural compounds that repel and control soft-bodied insects like aphids, spider mites, and whiteflies without harming beneficial insects like bees and ladybugs. Apply early morning so the mixture dries before hot sun intensifies its effects, and avoid spraying blooms directly to protect pollinators. This humble mixture rivals expensive commercial organic sprays in effectiveness, and the Amish have successfully been using this spray for their gardens. The secret lies in proper ingredient balance. Too much soap damages leaves, while too little won't help the spray stick to insects and plant surfaces. Unlike commercial pesticides that linger in soil for years, this natural spray breaks down quickly, leaving no harmful residues on vegetables. Wear gloves during preparation, unless you enjoy burning eyes when you rub them later.